For the past 4 decades, the global economy has been led by the United States, which has resulted in a significant rise in the standard of living for people everywhere. Since 1981, the percentage of the world's population living in extreme poverty on less than $1.90 per day has decreased, from 42% to 10%. This represents a significant decrease in the global poverty rate. But in nations with more developed economies, the disparity between the rich and the poor in terms of income and wealth has grown significantly. Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. Nowhere has poverty increased more than it has in the United States, which is where reliance on the force of the free market has been at its strongest. Because of this, the rewards for those at the top become significantly greater, while the majority of people fall further behind. Those with higher levels of education stand to benefit from the trend, while those with lower levels of education will suffer the negative effects. Those living in smaller towns are put at a disadvantage in comparison to those living in larger cities as a result. It is becoming increasingly difficult for an increasing number of people in the United States to get ahead. What led to this happening, and how will it affect things moving forward? Here are 5 different factors that contribute. Those who are equipped with the knowledge and strategies necessary to capitalize on the opportunities presented by the digital revolution will amass extraordinary wealth. However, this results in the elimination of jobs that economists refer to as middle-skill jobs. Work that once produced middle-class incomes for workers without college degrees is now being done by computer software and industrial machines. These roles range from clerical work to routine manufacturing tasks. David Otter, Ford Professor of Economics, MIT, said one of those forces is technological progress that has increased the value of an abstract problem solving, interpersonal communication, or organizational skills. Things that highly educated workers tend to be very capable of and has simultaneously devalued a lot of cognitively intensive but repetitive tasks in offices and production lines, and so kind of hollowed out the set of job activities available to non-college workers and sort of pushed them arguably downward into personal services, food services, cleaning, security, transportation, repair, where their skills are more interchangeable with other workers and where there is less of a return to experience over the life cycle. And so that has contributed downward pressure and wage pressure and economic insecurity for the less educated. So it's really kind of created a great world for the highly educated and a much less economically secure and inviting world for people who don't have high levels of education. The combination of increased competition from emerging economies such as China's and lower trade barriers has further diminished the employment opportunities available to those without advanced skills. Otter also said, the biggest economic story of the century, and certainly of the last 50 years, has been China's rise. China going from a poor and backward country in perpetual political and economic crisis to a frontier manufacturer with pretty well educated, highly available skilled labor using modern technology. So China marched up the productivity technology frontier between 1980 and the present at a rate at almost unseen in history. And because it was so vast, because it had so many people, so many resources, so much land, it could become, a manufacturer for now at this point. More than 20% of all world manufacturing value added. And that's not just a function. That's not just a function of trade deals. That's primarily a function of internal developments in China. The decision to allow free mobility of labor, to adopt Western technology and foreign direct investment, and to start trading with the world. And that had a big effect on the United States even in the 90s. But when China joined in 2001, that further opened the floodgates. And that had a dramatic accelerant effect on the rate at which competition entered the US market for manufactured goods, and the rate of decline of US manufacturing employment as a result of that. Over the course of just 7 years, about 20% of all US manufacturing jobs disappeared, and then they fell. It fell by another cumulative 11 percentage points during the Great Recession. So effectively, 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs no longer existed that had existed around 2000. Companies that have made significant strides forward, such as Apple and Amazon, are now able to generate money in multiple regions, which in turn creates enormous jackpots for the CEOs who oversee these companies, and for the cities in the United States that they have chosen to make their homes. Melissa Kearney, a professor of economics in University of Maryland, said that you create the innovation and you have the global product market. You're going to have much larger earnings than in the previous generation. There is increasingly divergence and economic growth and economic outcomes across places in the US. And so there are just, along with these superstar workers and these superstar firms, when you have superstar cities in our increasingly winner-take-all economy. During this time, the percentage of workers who are represented by labor unions has decreased by half, which has resulted in a reduction in the power that these organizations wield. As a result of the government's failure to raise the minimum wage, in line with rising prices, the purchasing power of the minimum wage has decreased, which has had a negative impact on workers who earn the least amount of money. Kearney added, fewer than 70% of men with a high school degree or less are working. The eroded value of the minimum wage in many cases, the decline in unionization, things that have otherwise sort of hurt workers' bargaining power, in many ways that amplify their weakened bargaining power, are just coming from these external forces. They were already competing with technology or workers from lower wage countries, for example. The shifting power dynamic has resulted in even greater benefits for the wealthiest individuals, as a result of policies implemented by both the government and private institutions. From shifts in tax policy that boosted their income to new admission requirements at colleges that gave their children an advantage over other applicants, the wealthy have benefited from a variety of recent policy changes. The market incentives that inequality creates for hard effort and risk-taking help to contribute to the dynamic nature of the American economy, but it does so at the expense of other people. Otter Al said, "You need some inequality. The problem is when that dynamism at a point in time gives rise to dynaticism, such that the next generation doesn't get an equal footing, such that kids of affluent parents, even if there are some mediocre talent, get to go to the best schools and get access to, the most after-school investment, the most training, and so on. Talented kids from less affluent families don't get to go to these schools. They don't get invested in the same way. And that's a loss for all of us. That's not just a loss for them. That means our society will be less productive. Additionally, it contributes to the never-ending upheaval." Kearney commented, "I think we're seeing that loud and clearly in the sort of politics for the past few years. People are increasingly likely to report that they believe the system is rigged against them. This is damaging both for the functioning of our democracy, but I actually think also for the functioning of our economy. We're going to see people in increasing numbers sort of dropping out of our mainstream climb to economic success, and so we've got this economic malaise, and now we have this social malaise going along with it, and it's leaving the large, loud political cries for completely, I think, upending our capitalist system." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.